Okay, everyone. So next up, we have the panel discussion on how some of the top product managers from the top organizations have gone about and did their transition into the product management roles. So today, I have with me the product managers from some of the top organizations, including Mercedes, Candela, and Oracle. So what you can look out for, you can definitely look out for some key insights on the product management transition itself, tips for interviews, and what is helping the product managers to stay relevant, specifically in challenging times like COVID. So that's what we are going to have. And let me start with a brief introduction about the speakers. So first up, I have Ravi. Ravi is a senior product manager. So first up, I have Ravi, a senior PM from Mercedes. He has a team of PMs and designers, and he's a well-known speaker too. Ravi, would you like to add to it some more interesting elements about yourself?
Hello everyone, Ravi here. Unfortunately, the video is not working. I'm using the laptop with a faulty camera. So I'll just try to connect to the phone also, just in case if over a period of time. So yeah, so about me, yes, I have started my product management journey almost 7 years ago. So I was kind of the accidental product manager. Where I initially my transition has been from the project management. I was getting things done, so handling teams with the multiple deliverables and the various other aspects of it. Then later on, I did realize there are better ways to build the product and the product management framework and other things, which actually helps to build a sustainable solution, considering what customer needs rather than building something which comes from the requirement documents. So that's that's the way I started looking at, and over a period of time, I did realize the importance of product management and the ecosystem, what we have, the living every day, the productized environment actually played a vital role to understand this better. And so my journey with IPL started almost 3 years ago, where I was pursuing the MBA, and I have just across the life cycle I've seen and hands-on practice to the various products from B2B perspective, from B2C perspective, and which actually helped me to see the complete the life cycle of product management, which is very difficult to find in any working condition.
Thank you, Ravi. So next up, I have Priya.
So, hi, Muthu, and hi, everybody. This is Priya. I have recently transitioned into a product owner role at Global Logic. I am in the IT industry, both in technical as well as in the functional aspects since 10 years. But recently, I can say after joining IPL, I have transitioned into two different and then a step ahead than what I was thinking. I was developer, both full stack to start with, and later on I moved on to become a UI developer and was keenly interested in UX and stuff like that. Though I knew that I am okay and good with the logical thinking aspects, but my exposure to product and then the way it turns out was limited as a developer. But it actually did not stop there, and today I am actually at Global Logic, and I am being a product owner, which is a consultant in my firm, and I'm happy to be here. We'll talk more about how things went on well. Happy to be part of this panel, and thank you for listening to us.
Hey, thank you, Priya. And Priya just recently transitioned into a PM role, and she's now virtually rocking her organization. So we'll learn more about it as we speak. So next, Ravi Kiran. Ravi Kiran is a star PM from Candela Labs. And Ravi, would you like to add on, please?
Hey, thank you, Muthu. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
I am a product manager with Candela Labs, focusing mainly on the insurance business. We help insurance companies to serve their customers better. I have transitioned to product manager from program management role. I have done project and program management for about 12 plus years. Then about 4 years back, my journey started to, I started moving into a full-time product management kind of a role. Previously, I had played a little bit of that role in a couple of organizations, but yes, IPL gave me the skill set and the tools to actually play it effectively. Been about, yeah, I'm enjoying a lot of learnings. I will talk about it during our discussion today.
So thank you, Ravi. And I have Mukesh also here. Mukesh is a PM from Oracle, and he's also an ambassador for a startup program over there in Oracle. Mukesh, would you like to add on, please?
Yeah,
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hey,
I
Mukesh.
joined from both the laptop as well as the phone in case power goes off.
Right.
So
Yeah.
sorry for that.
Sure.
Okay.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much, Muthu, for having me here. So I'm Mukesh, and overall, I have worked with product companies, startups, and I have worked with telcos and customers across the globe. And overall, I have 13 years of experience as of today. On the work front, currently as a product manager at Oracle, I am handling two key products of Oracle. One of them is the billing and revenue management, and the other one is subscription cloud, basically Oracle monetization cloud. What I do here is I help the subscription businesses monetize their services. Okay? So you consider telcos like Vodafone, Airtel, or you consider non-telcos like Amazon Prime or Netflix. So they all provide some services, subscription services to you, and they need to monetize that. So doing that. Prior to joining Oracle, I was working for Subex Limited for 7 years, where I joined as a developer. And then by the time I signed off, I was handling a customer-focused development team. Very recently, I have also joined Oracle's initiative called Oracle for Startups, and I have joined there as an ambassador. So what I actually do there is all those startups out there, all those entrepreneurs who are looking to open their own businesses, they all need infrastructure. They all need mentors. They all need customers. Okay, so this particular initiative enables them. So, and I mean, I don't know how many entrepreneurs and product managers are out there right now, but if there is anybody who is looking forward to similar kind of stuff, well, please feel free to approach me, and I can see I can help you onboard the Oracle Cloud. So that's pretty much about me right now.
Okay. So thank you, Mukesh. So let's get down to the discussion here, right? So let's start with something very recent that is affecting the way how all of us work, and you know, how all of us were used to deliver things in the past, right? So the COVID is definitely changing the way how we had been building the products earlier versus now. There's been a lot of things changing with the complete virtual infrastructure coming in place, and we had to completely work and deliver in the virtual world, right? So what I would like to know first is, you know, how are you seeing this change, and how is it changing the roles and responsibilities, and is there any examples that you could share? I would like to start it with Priya, who even did her transition also during the similar time, and even had to do her onboarding during the, I mean, it's very recent, like 1.5 months back, you did your transition, Priya. And this is when, this is all during the uncertain times, and you had to even do a virtual onboarding. So how did all that go?
Yeah. Even I was clueless when I started this process, because I was already serving the notice period. If I start from to give an example, even the interview calls were diminishing as and when the COVID-19 lockdown hit, or when we had uncertainties in place. And thankfully, I had this offer from Global Logic, for which I decided to join. And I was just lucky, I can say. Just one day before the lockdown, I had to actually get into the new organization. But however, even before that, my offboarding was virtual, which was actually new even for my previous organization. And then they figured it out, and then we did everything offline, virtually, and then only submitting the laptop was kept to the end. And I also saw that the companies have also adapted to the situation really well, even though it is new to them. They are understanding the seriousness and then trying to get things done virtually. And yeah, there are multiple touch points, and then coordination plays an important role because you're virtual. So that was a challenge. I kept on getting many calls from many HRs for onboarding as well, which is fine. Even I was understanding the situation. So getting into that coordination mode and understanding the importance of like multiple other documents that had to be filled, and you have to understand. You don't even know who your teams are, and when you come to the when you come to the organization, the client that you have been hired for is not your client anymore because they are not trying to onboard you. So there are challenges wherein then I started working with different clients and on their proposals, wherein any opportunity that I get that we win together, I can step into it. So this gave me a challenge of working with multiple clients. Otherwise, I would have been only stuck to one client who actually hired me. So this gave a positive thing for me, fortunately. So that is one good thing that I can say.
Sure. Thank you, Priya. I think this is going to be a new reality for all of us, right? So many companies are now considering that a considerable amount of their workforce can continue to be virtual. Is one of the key learning that the companies have taken away, and a lot of human resources have already been thinking from the top companies on how they can actually go into the virtual space. So continuing from there, Ravikiran, would you like to add your thoughts on how your company has been adapting to the virtual mode and some of your learnings there?
Yeah, sure. I think COVID has definitely changed a lot of things, especially from my company side. We have started working remotely long before, about 2 weeks before the lockdown. So we are now in a very long journey of being working remotely. But if you look at the industry as such, right, the lot of digitization has happened. So there was a joke which was going on, right? COVID has been the main reason for pushing the digitization, right? No, not like any other CIO push or something. So that way, COVID is setting some new normals, depending upon the industry you are in, especially the industry where I am, which is insurance, right? A lot of things have changed. There are some roles or some journeys like a customer care center and things, right, which are no more working, right? There's nobody there to serve you. So customers are looking at quick wins. Customers are looking at something which can help them to be getting in this digital journey, serve their customers better. What I have realized is during this journey, during this time, you need to be a lot more proactive. Keep looking out for changes or new developments which are happening in the area where you're working on. A lot of opportunities do keep coming up, and what I've seen is short, quick win solutions work better at this point rather than a long 6 months kind of solutions, which at this time a lot of the customers don't even have the staff to do those kind of projects and those kind of products. So they're looking at something as a quick win to help them to tide over this and get into a new normal, like they say. They are looking at before COVID and after COVID. So there is a
Yeah,
new normal which is happening.
right.
So that's what I've seen. I think depending upon the industry, either especially in the insurance side, a lot of digital push has happened because of COVID.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's very true that the digital transformation has actually been accelerated at a pretty high fast when COVID situation came in, and a short-term thinking currently with a shorter roadmap on a lot of things is actually helping the companies with quick wins. That's very true. Thank you. So let's get on to something which is common between all of us, right? So it is the product management and our passion for the product management as a topic. Um, So what I would like to understand is when and how did you realize that you had to transition into product management? The time and the reason, or how did you realize that product management is the way to go for you, and you had to transition into that role? Ravi, Mukesh, if you'd like to take on.
I'll just take it, the Ravi Vishati here.
Yes, Ravi.
I mean, my journey started, or the way I look at it is, so when when I was actually given a task to develop a product, which is basically with a very straightforward requirement, and it was an HRMS tool. And we just started with the HLD and the requirement documents and pursued without, and after developing that product, it was a project, basically the way of delivery, even still if I see it. And it was a nosedive failure, and the product or that service was even not liked by the user. That actually triggered me thought like the why it did not work. So when it comes down to, I started reading all the requirement documents. There wasn't any empathy for the users. There was any centricity about the user, what exactly he wants, and there wasn't any recommendation. Yes, it was an agile way of working, and always we say like when the user story starts with as a user every time, but very less time the product team or product development team really put the user in place. So these are the couple of learning which I got and started browsing about it, and connecting with the seniors, peers, and that time industry leaders. That is where actually I got into the product leadership forum PLF 2016, I believe. And so that's where I started looking at the complete ecosystem, where we had a huge amount of discussion from the Walmart Lab product managers that time, Intuit product managers, InMobi product managers. So I did realize like whenever we are developing something and we look at the sustainability of the development rather than just deliver something and leave or move it to support frameworks. So that's where the project is good. It is good for the construction like thing, but the moment we actually think about the software way of delivery, and I'm sure we have to really look at the ecosystem, multiple competitive analysis, bringing user into the between, and giving importance to user experience, user research, these kind of topics. And these topics are actually well collaborated in product management framework, and that's where it actually makes sense to learn everything about the product management and always deliver from the product approach rather than the project approach.
Yep.
So that's my take on the complete holistic picture of product.
Yeah. Thank you, Ravi. Mukesh.
Yeah, my journey into product management was a little, how do we say? I mean, there is a web series called Mirzapur, and there is a dialogue where it says, "Shuru majburi mein kiya tha, but phir maza aane laga." Okay, so the way it happened for me is like I joined as a developer. I joined Subex as a developer, and I was a hardcore developer. I did not want to do anything other than coding. So 2.5 years into job, and I was asked to go and visit one of the customers where they were having some issues, and I was expected to solve their problems. Okay. I was okay, all right, fine, we will go there. Okay, I went there, then I come back, then I've been asked to do that again for another customer, and then this kept happening. So it happened twice, thrice, 4 times, and when I had these interactions with customers, okay, I actually started enjoying those conversations gradually, because I figured that, I mean, when I am sitting and writing code, I am doing what I have been told. Okay, but when I actually sit with the customers, I understand what exactly they look for, what exactly their business needs are, and I started looking at providing solutions from that angle. Well, then I moved from Subex, and I joined Oracle again as a developer. Okay, but within 1 or 2 years, I figured that I think probably I was enjoying that more than what I am doing right now, and I started looking at how I can now make some amends and get back into that kind of role again. Okay, so some amount of introspection, some amount of guidance from my mentors. Eventually I figured, okay, what I actually want to do is product management. Okay? And then I feel happened, and then here I am today.
Perfect. Thank you, Mukesh. In all of our journey, right? So at some point in time, we realized when we had to transition into the product management space, right? So that's always very interesting to know. And when we actually realized that there is product management, and then we want, and our passion lies in building the products and managing the products. And then when we want to really go about building a career with product management, it requires some approach, it requires some planning. So how did you go about your own transition into a product management career? Maybe Priya, if you'd like to take on.
Yeah, that's a nice question to answer, Muthu, because finding that match is very important. Because you might be all enthusiastic to go and then do product management, but you have to know what does it involve, and then what is it that you have in you, or what you can do to get the solutioning aspect for building any product. So I have also been experimenting, and it did not happen on its own, or it did not come to me accidentally as it happens. So I had to carve a path for myself with the help of IPL, and as well as with the help of my cohort and my contacts. And also, what you have to do is structure out what is it that you want to do. And get some guidance and understand what is there out in the industry, and is it something which interests you, which you can do passionately, irrespective of whichever field you are in. So that is one aspect. And then another aspect is, yeah, you dive into some roles or solving certain problems, but it is also important to deep dive, because the devil lies in the details. Get into the customer shoes, for instance, understand what is it that you are trying to solve, understand the key metrics. And also, when you are switching, you are making a major transition. What you might have learned, you might also have to unlearn certain things. So it also depends on how adaptable you are to the new environment and how quickly you can adapt. Sometimes it might take time if the topic or the industry is entirely different, and sometimes you might actually gel well, because that might be your role or your industry of sorts. So I can say it is always good to experiment instead of being in the same role and fretting about it. Like, I have been open to experiment, and then I've been doing it, because that is where you will identify what is the right match. Because from far everything looks good, or when you are in, you know that you don't want to be in certain place. So identifying what you need to do and then taking that step at the right time, and
Right.
having put those efforts are really very important. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for that. I think the accidental product management is the best thing that can happen, but it cannot happen for everyone, right? So,
Yes.
and when you go about a way of finding out what really works for you, it may not just happen just like that, and you may have to try out different roles before you
Correct.
find your
Yeah.
right job to be in. So, Ravi Kiran, your thoughts on the same?
Yeah, I think uh, in order to move to product management, right, there are multiple options. One, like you said, accidental product management may be a good way where it can test you and it can give you that flavor, and then maybe you will like it or not. And otherwise, like Mukesh said, right, you need to be either then have a passion to either solve customer problems or ask those questions. Okay, why not this, why this, or what additional things I can do about the product and things. And if you have all of that, then I think at some point you need to take that call. So that's where the IPL comes in to give you that skill set, what is required to make this journey, as well as a tool set on how you can go about doing your job. And once you have this, I think you are pretty much there with respect to what product management requires. Then it's just trying to see which where you can get the best opportunity to showcase those. But yeah, either do the best things would be either accidental or do some experiments, or a lot of people now have their passion to build something, so you can even start with that, and as a parallel activity start doing that, and then see whether you start liking it. and then take one of these one of the learnings like the advanced learnings to actually build in those concepts. So that would be the method what we'll have to go.
Perfect. So now that someone realizes that the product management is for them and they want to play a role there and they want to go about the transition, right? So as all of you have also did in your journey, at what point in time that you actually realized that you needed some education, and how did you go about choosing IPL over other institutes when it came to that point in time when you needed some education around product management? I would like to start this with Ravi.
Yes. So when I started with product management, so the journey started from Google and YouTube and a couple of the videos and everything. But the one thing which I was actually missing was the structured approach, or at least the book of knowledge where the table of content is actually introduced to you. So you don't know actually the product development starts when and what are the trigger points and what are the factors to create a product roadmap. So all these aspects of it was not very clear in the structured learning. So I was just looking for it, and fortunately, one of my that time earlier manager actually asked me to get an MBA done because the life would be very difficult because after some time, because MBA is the new normal these days. And so I was just looking for it. Yes, I did validate it, one of the top niche colleges across the country, and none of the content is actually making sense, and most of the content is actually very generic, talking about very general management or technology aspect of it, but it was really not talking about building solution, entrepreneur side of it, or how startups and corporate side, B2B, B2C. Many questions were really not answered. So that is the time actually I came across IPL. And my first interaction, I still remember with the Rahul Abhyankar. And just I was just asking about, like, I was pretty immature. I was just talking about the definition of product and these kind of things, which is a usual question these days as well. And the kind of answer which we received and the kind of response which we received, it actually hooked me to come back to it again and again. So I was actually finding a reason to pursue MBA here. And so fortunately, I joined in 2017, and till 2019, I was pretty active and still actually community and other aspect of it. I actually see that. So this all thing was actually happening. And one thing which I really liked about IPL's learning was it is a very high octane education. And when it comes down to, most of the sessions actually happens on the Saturdays and Sunday. But unlike any other the certification course, you don't wait for the completely has to be done and then you call yourself. But basically in 6 months down the lane, you're matured, you're completely a different person. And every Monday you're going to office after a session, you see a different you. Your presentations, your communication, the way of thought, your clarity, and you are actually taking the lead in every aspect of it. So that is something which actually see a huge value add, because most of the cohorts cohorts or most of the industry practitioners which I see, they wait for the course to get over and then they become suddenly they become a like the very transformed person. But here it was not. I can feel my journey, I can see my journey, and I am so much content was actually provided to download. And so that's how I actually see the complete IPL journey was, and that's how my selecting IPL over any other institute of the rest of the country.
Perfect. Thank you, Ravi. In fact, Priya, actually, you have a double MBA. Would you like to add your thoughts there?
Okay. So when I actually started to think about product management, I had an opportunity to work with very good product managers when I was working with Delhi MC. And that's when I started interacting with internal customers and then the sales partners or the sales enablement team. So that's when that fire of working with the customers and then the intermediate partners came. And then I was like, why can't I be part of a product management team? And then what is it that is lacking in me to get into that? Because I was a normal developer then. When I did my study, all of them were like IIM graduates. So with a person of 4.5 years of experience, I was like, okay, now I have to get into MBA and then I have to do it. Because I didn't know that it's all about what you have to do and then what the product needs from you. So I enrolled for like 1 year executive MBA at IIM, and it was very generic. When I actually started to apply it, it was nowhere fitting into me building a product or or providing a good solution to any idea that is being thought to of. So I was again, my again another round of thought was like there is something which is missing in me, wherein I cannot attend the interviews confidently even after my MBA, or I don't know, something about product management is missing. So I decided that I will not study, I will only apply what is being learned. So that's when one of my friends or batchmate from IIM directed me to IPL, and I spoke to IPL people, and then I understood that it is a kind of experiential learning. It's not about reading heavy books and then going through the same methodologies, or just learning case studies. It is above and beyond the normal MBA that I can say, because I have done one of those already. So this is very specific, and this is what we have to do certain times. As in, when there are plethora of information, when there is a lot of things to learn, one good thing that IPL taught us with all our professors was just after you think through, like in design thinking, now you can pivot and then start thinking section by section, or think about leaning it down into one thing. So that is one. And as I already mentioned, experiential learning was one thing which actually attracted me to IPL. And the cohort also matters a lot. And we have also this amazing opportunity to talk to our main founder Pinkesh for any one-on-one guidance. Even for during transition, I got one-on-one guidance on my resume, or even the mock interview with him helped me a lot. So I came up with a set of questions that the interviewers can ask, and then how I have to understand certain things, or probably solve a case study in what way that the industry is looking out for in a product. Maybe you are good at it, but you have to express well in that 45 minutes of your time. So how will you get that best in you so that you can impress the interviewer is one good thing that I learned. And certain things I had to unlearn as well, which is a good part. So I can actually say that this was a completely different one, and we have actually worked through as a cohort, as a group, as an individual, from storytelling until how our communication should be there. How do we have to approach our customers? What is like how Teja, Soumya, Subodh already spoke in today's calls, and then they have touched upon all the aspects that we have learned in the system, which is actually true, and we can apply it in the industry. That is what is good about it, and then I can attribute that to IPL.
Yep. Thank you, Priya. And moving on. So, Mukesh, what do you think? I mean, PM is always expected to wear multiple hats in his role, right? So, they are often expected to do multiple things while the product is evolving. So, what do you think, from your perspective, some of the key skills that a product manager should be having?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Just to give you a background, in this entire career, I have literally done everything in the software lifecycle. I have worked as a developer, as an architect. I have worked as a development lead. I am working as a product manager. I have gone to on-site. I have done demos. I have done installations. I have literally done anything. Okay. So now, the key skills that a product manager in the current scenario should have, I mean, even the COVID situation, like Ravi said, it changes a lot of things. Okay, so even for our organization, now mostly deal with enterprise customers, okay? And the sales things are usually low; those are large ticket ones. But in the current scenario, that changes things a lot. You cannot go and meet the customers directly, and you can sell your products to them. Okay, the sales has dropped. So what happens now is you have to start focusing more and more on your digital product strategy. Okay? So one of the key aspects that I would perhaps recommend to anybody is start ramping up your digital strategy and be ready for this kind of situation any given time. Another initiative that I have just started in my organization is one of the So everybody understands the performance benchmarking and sizing. Okay. Now this can be done every time you have a new customer. You can go ahead, take the load details, and you can arrive at the sizing. But given that we have so much of data available and we have data science available, machine learning available, it would be wise to actually apply some of those into this area and build up some sort of model. So what I am trying to do here is, based on all the data that we have arrived from benchmark so far and all the customers that we have deployed across sites, we are collecting all of that data and we are building a model. Okay? So that model in future can be used to predict all the hardware that any given. So you give a load, okay, and it will predict. So when I say this, it might look a little simplistic, but for a large enterprise level software, there are multiple parameters that you have to consider before you can actually arrive at the sizing. So it's based on all those parameters, the customer load, the threads, and all of that, we are trying to derive a model in which you just feed in the customer's load and it gives you the approximate with a reasonable amount of precision that, okay, this is the amount of hardware that this particular customer would be actually using. Okay. So although on paper it sounds a very small thing, okay, we are just arriving at the sizing, but there is a lot of work that's going to get into it. So digital product strategy, I would say number one, and try finding out venues in your product where you can apply the data science and machine learning. So these are the two key things that I would perhaps recommend to anybody as of today.
Perfect, thank you. And extending on the same conversation from the skills, Ravi Kiran, this is to you. When this comes to a B2B product management, what do you think some of the specific skill sets that are required for a product manager?
When you look at the B2B, right, it is a little different. We would have always been told as a product managers that you need to identify the problems first, you need to talk to your customers and be on their pulse and things. But when you're in a B2B, the end customer, you might not have so much of access to the end customer. So you might not know how your product is actually being used and what they're feeling and things. If you get those data, it's well and good, depending upon how big organization you're in. But usually you might not get it. So you would go through a business to do it. So in terms of the skill set, all the learnings, what you learn from product management do make sense and are applicable. It's just that the prioritization changes. Here, you will have to prioritize a lot more to stakeholders management, talking to your internal customers and trying to understand from them what is exactly the minds of the people, trying to derive insights from that, focusing more on secondary research and doing some usability testing. So that's the only opportunity you will get where you might reach out to the customers. So and then validate. So one of the key things what I have learned is always build hypothesis about what you think the customer is expected to do. And once you have this hypothesis, then either try to validate this hypothesis by all the different tools available with you. Either if you get an opportunity, validate with your customers. Some you might have access to some of the customers, either as a priority customers or somebody, or you validate with your sales team. Or your secondary stakeholders, domain experts, anybody. So the whole point is build a hypothesis and try to validate it. And then see how your product is going to best meet the need. But overall, the skill set wise, you will still use all of the things what you learn with respect to the journeys, the empathies, the UX, the product building steps, and all those are going to be applicable across. It's just that the importance or the priority of them might change a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you, Ravi. That's very nicely put. I think while for a B2C companies, it is very easy to get on to, let's say, a survey from 1,000 users, or even scaling your solution to millions of users, right? Whereas in B2B, the situation is completely different, where you have to probably prioritize based on a few enterprise customers that you have, but the size of each of them would be relatively very large. So that is very well put, that the method more or less remains the same, but the approach differs between how you are actually taking this, depending on the context of B2B versus B2C. Let me take, there are some interesting questions as well. Let me take one question in the interest of time, and then we can wrap up from there. This is to all of you in the panel, whomever wants to go for it. The question is, before product management and after product management role, right? So what was your perception before getting into the role, and what is some of your realization after you have got into the role?
Maybe I'll take it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it depends on what is your perception about product managers. For me, I had a perception that it is like a CEO. Meaning you would have a P&L.
Actually, it's often called as a mini CEO role.
It is called as a mini CEO for sure. And then I was expecting my perception, right, at that point, that you would have a P&L given to you and said, okay, now build, and things like that, right? Those kinds of happy path and things. But yeah, the reality can be different depending upon the organization and the role what you play. Some of the bigger organization, your role might be limited to a specific area of the product. You might be only managing the product development part of it, or you might be only managing the product marketing part of it, or go-to-market part of it, or online revenue management part of it, things like that, right? Or in some other organizations, depending upon the scale and the size, you might even get an opportunity to play all of the roles. So it again depends on the company. That's where the many people prefer the startups because of the small scale and the dynamic ability. You tend to get at least experience of all the different flavors and all the different expectation from the role. And usually the bigger companies have, because the portfolio is big and the product is sometimes complex, will have multiple product managers to manage one big product. So you might end up managing a part of the product. But again, even for that particular piece, you will still go through the multiple journeys. That again depends upon the business and the type of B2C or B2B. You might get again experience of all of that or few of those. Again, it's not a very straightforward answer, but depends upon the best part would be you start on your own, right? Then you experience everything, the highs, lows, and everything else. So it again depends upon the role and the company where you are in.
Yeah, that's very nicely put. Actually, not all product managers are mini CEOs, and depending on the size of the organization and the PM culture of that organization itself, the role is going to heavily vary. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, everyone, and that was a great discussion indeed. I hope everyone got some value out of our discussion. We have addressed a few questions as well, and keep your questions coming. We will also answer your questions in the community as well. So yeah, thank you everyone on the panel.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Muthu.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.